Leaving the hospital, an old man suddenly stared intently at the necklace around my neck and said, "Young lady, you're pregnant, yet you're wearing the ashes of a stillborn child. This is a life-for-life exchange. It will transfer the baby in your womb to someone else's. This necklace was given to you by my friend, Tracy Brown, after she had a miscarriage. At first, I didn't want to wear it, but she kept insisting until I gave in. This morning, Tracy went for a checkup and found out she was pregnant again, and my once perfectly healthy baby suddenly had no detectable heartbeat." A chill ran through me. When I got home, I immediately took the necklace containing the ashes and fastened it around the belly of a pregnant black dog. Standing in front of the hospital gates, I stared blankly at the small silver gourd pendant on the chain. Inside was indeed a fine, dark gray powder. Ashes. My mind went blank. Yes, these were the ashes of a stillborn baby. The old man's expression grew grave. "While you're pregnant, wearing this will cause a life-for-life exchange. Your baby will be lost, and the person who gave you the necklace will give birth to a healthy child." My chest tightened. This necklace was exactly what Tracy had given me after her miscarriage. I'd never liked wearing jewelry, but she had insisted. Today, we went to the hospital together. My baby suddenly had no heartbeat, while she was overjoyed to learn she was pregnant again. She happily walked ahead, while I trailed behind in sorrow. Just as I stepped out of the hospital, the old man, his surname Payne, stopped me. I trembled, about to throw the necklace away, but he stopped me. "Since you've worn it, the ritual has already begun," he warned. "If you want to break free, you must find another pregnant woman to pass it on to before the ritual completes. If you throw it away carelessly, both you and your baby will die." I was torn. Wouldn't that mean doing the same cruel thing Tracy did to me? "Mr. Payne, isn't there any other way?" I pleaded. He shook his head. "Before midnight tonight, you must give this necklace to someone else. Once it's done, call me. And remember, don't let them suspect a thing." He left me with his phone number and hurried away. It was now 5 p.m., which meant I had only 7 hours to save myself. I was still half in doubt. Tracy and I had grown up together, close as sisters. After her miscarriage, I'd even visited and cared for her while heavily pregnant myself. I didn't want to believe she would harm me. But, what if it was true? After all, my baby really had lost its heartbeat. My mind was in turmoil as I returned home. As soon as I opened the door, I heard muffled, breathless noises coming from the study, followed by Tracy Brown's giggling voice. "Today, I saw your wife, Lynn Newman, walking out of the hospital. She looked so distraught, it was hilarious," she said. Then Charles Hartman's lazy voice rang out. "Once the ritual with the ashes necklace succeeds, the little lump of flesh in her belly will fall out. She'll cry in utter misery, completely broken. That's when you'll enjoy it even more." I felt as if I'd been struck by lightning. So Mr. Payne's warning was true. Rage surged inside me, and I wanted to storm in and confront them, but I remembered his words, "Don't startle the snake in the grass." I forced myself to quietly leave the couple's apartment and return to the house I'd bought before marriage. Once inside, I couldn't hold back my tears. Through my blurred vision, I noticed my black dog of 7 years sitting off to the side of its kennel, belly round and full. This dog had never been close to me or my husband. Instead, it had always been strangely attached to Tracy. Looking at its swollen belly, an idea flashed in my mind. Mr. Payne never said the necklace had to be given to a person. My eyes turned cold. They had been ruthless. So they couldn't blame me for being heartless. I immediately poured half a tub of food. Once it started eating, I skillfully fastened the necklace around its belly, then locked it in the kennel and covered it with a blanket. I wasn't imagining it. After I put the necklace on, its eyes held a strange, human-like hatred toward me. I felt a shiver run through me. Just then, the door opened. Charles Hartman walked in, carrying several shopping bags. "Sweetheart, the security guard told me you came into the complex but didn't go home. I figured you must be upset, so I rushed here." I bought some black chicken, I'll make soup to nourish you, he said gently. His voice was as tender as ever, but it sent a chill down my spine. Suddenly, the black dog burst out of its kennel and rushed to rub its head against his leg. My instincts flared. Why was it suddenly being affectionate toward him? Charles looked surprised too, but when his eyes landed on the necklace around the dog's belly, his face darkened. Sweetheart, why is the necklace Tracy gave you on the dog? I forced a laugh. Oh, I was planning to film a clip of the dog wearing it and post it online. Who knows, maybe it'll go viral. Thinking quickly, I pulled out my phone, recorded a short video, and posted it publicly right in front of him. He kept his voice calm but cool. If the dog damages it, what then? You'd be ruining Tracy's thoughtful gift. Then, in a softer tone, he said, "Come on, let me put it back on you." The moment the dog lost the necklace, it returned to normal, growling at him. But with just one sharp look from Charles, it immediately trembled and crawled back into its kennel. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. The necklace felt cold around my neck, like a venomous snake coiling tighter, making it hard to breathe. My stomach twisted painfully. Ah, it hurts, I let out a soft cry. What's wrong, sweetheart? Charles Hartman asked, feigning concern. My stomach feels uncomfortable. I'll go lie down, I said, bending over and pretending to be in pain as I made my way to the bedroom. I planned to wait until he let his guard down so I could take off the necklace and put it back on the dog. But the moment my fingers touched the chain. What are you doing? I froze. He was leaning against the doorway, his eyes as cold as the dog's had been when it wore the necklace earlier. Just changing clothes, I replied. Why are you following me everywhere today? I asked. Something happened to the baby, I'm worried about you. Go rest, I'll make dinner, he said smoothly. But it was obvious, he was watching me to make sure I didn't remove the necklace. I swallowed my anger, waiting for another chance. But even if I stayed in the bathroom for more than a few minutes, he would knock on the door. Time crept by in suffocating silence. It was already past 9 p.m. Only less than 3 hours left before the deadline. My nerves were stretched to the breaking point, my head spinning. He guided me to lie down on the bed. After a while, I opened my eyes and glanced toward the living room. Charles was sitting on the sofa with his back to me, talking on the phone. Don't worry, I've been watching her the whole time, she hasn't had a chance to take the necklace off. I put something extra in her soup tonight. She'll sleep straight through until morning, and by then the ritual will be complete. A pause. Then his voice grew colder. Do I feel bad? Not at all. She's no better than a dead pig lying there. If it weren't for her money, I wouldn't even look at her. After her surgery, I'll slip drugs into her food every day until she's dead. Then everything she owns will be ours. Tears streamed down my face like rain. Since my parents died, Tracy Brown and Charles Hartman had been the two most important people in my life. I never imagined they could be so cruel, not only taking my child, but plotting to take my life as well. When Charles hung up, I quickly lay back down and pretended to sleep. The sound of his footsteps drew closer, my whole body tensed. Luckily, this time he only stood in the bedroom doorway for a moment before heading back into the study. I waited a little longer before daring to open my eyes. It was nearly 11 p.m. Immediately, I pulled up the security camera feed for the study. He was already asleep on the small bed inside. Moving quietly, I slipped out of bed and took the leftover soup from dinner, the one laced with drugs, and gave it to the black dog. It collapsed almost instantly. Thankfully, I'd eaten only a little, so I was still conscious, though dizzy. I wrapped a cloth around the dog's muzzle, lifted it in my arms, and left the house, calling a taxi to take me to a park far from home. Finding a secluded corner, I tied the ashes necklace securely around the dog's body. At that moment, there were only 5 minutes left until midnight. I barely had time to catch my breath before pulling a brand new phone from my bag and tossing my old one far away. In the past, I had never suspected Charles Hartman or Tracy Brown, so I couldn't be sure if they had tampered with my old phone. The new phone had originally been a birthday gift I'd bought for Charles. The irony wasn't lost on me. With just minutes to spare before midnight, I quickly contacted my lawyer. I was determined not to let them get away with this. The second the clock passed 12, I called Mr. Payne. The moment the call connected, the unconscious black dog suddenly thrashed violently, letting out a pitiful howl. It began vomiting thick, black blood. Its belly visibly deflated. If I hadn't gotten that Ashes necklace off me, this would have been my baby's fate. Shaking, I asked, "Mr. Payne, I've passed the necklace on. What's the next step?" He told me to come to his house immediately. The Ashes necklace was a vessel of dark energy, and my baby had already been affected. We needed to restore positive energy to save it, otherwise, it still might not survive. "Yes. I'll come right now," I said, clutching my pregnant belly. Then I felt it, a faint kick. My baby was answering me. Strength surged back into my body. I hurried out of the park and was about to flag down a taxi when a car came speeding straight toward me. The driver was Tracy Brown. She leaned halfway out of the window, her face pale as a ghost, screaming in rage. "Lynn Newman. Who did you give the Ashes necklace to?" I dove out of the way just as a taxi pulled up. I yanked the door open and jumped in. Bam! Tracy's car slammed into the median. She stumbled out, a large bloodstain spreading across her dress. She charged toward me, teeth clenched, yelling, "Lynn, you're not getting away." My heart pounded. "Drive. Hurry, she's insane." I urged the driver. He slammed the gas, and the taxi shot forward. When I reached Mr. Payne's house, my legs gave out, and I slid down the doorframe, collapsing onto the ground. Before I could catch my breath, my phone rang again, a message from Tracy. It was a gruesome photo, drenched in blood. She had cut open the black dog's belly. A sharp pain seized my stomach, and I felt wetness below. I couldn't tell if it was from sheer terror or if I was already bleeding. Just then, Charles Hartman's name flashed on my screen. I hung up immediately. He didn't give up, calling over a dozen times. I glanced nervously at Mr. Payne, who was arranging candles into a bagua pattern. "Don't worry, almost done," he assured me. I forced myself to steady my breathing. When the calls failed, Charles switched to texting. "Sweetheart, where are you? I'll come pick you up and take you home." Then another message. "You bitch, you think throwing away your phone means you can hide from me?" My chest tightened. Right after, he sent a photo, the front gate of Mr. Payne's apartment complex. His messages came flooding in one after another. "See? I found you," Charles Hartman's text read. "I'm already inside the building, this place is so old. I'm coming upstairs now. Damn, there's no elevator." A moment later, "I'm here." A hard lump rose in my throat. Immediately after, there was a heavy knock at the door. "Sweetheart, be good, open the door," he called. A chill swept over my whole body. I pressed my back against the door, my fingers trembling. "Mr. Payne, are you done yet?" "Charles is here, he's right outside." But Mr. Payne, still busy arranging candles, didn't answer. Bang bang bang. "Sweetheart, open the door." His voice dropped to a snarl. "You bitch, open up right now, or I'll kill you." The venom in his tone made my teeth chatter. Overcome with fear, I lunged toward the dining table, grabbed a fruit knife, and kept my eyes fixed on the door. He shouted a few more times, and when I didn't respond, he began kicking it hard. The door to Mr. Payne's apartment started to shake. "It's ready, come here, now," Mr. Payne called. He yanked me into the center of the candlelit bagua circle and pulled the knife from my hand. Looking me dead in the eyes, he said, "You must stay inside this circle for 20 minutes. Give me $10,000, and I'll hold that man off for you." He didn't give me a chance to refuse. He grabbed my phone, added himself as a contact, requested a transfer, and urged me to enter my password. My hand shook as I complied. "This is my nephew's account, 10,000 is enough for him to finish school," Mr. Payne said with a relieved smile. Then, gripping the knife firmly, he flung the door open. The door had barely swung wide before Charles Hartman, face twisted with rage, lunged inside, but Mr. Payne braced himself and blocked him with all his strength. The door slammed shut again. Outside, Charles roared viciously, "Get out of my way." Mr. Payne answered with steely resolve, "I will not let you in." "You old man, you want to die?" Charles snarled. Then I heard the dull thud of fists pounding into flesh. I glanced anxiously at the time, each second dragged by like an eternity. I was supposed to be standing in the Bagua circle to replenish my positive energy, but my whole body felt icy cold, and sharp pains twisted my belly. Gently stroking my stomach, I whispered, "Baby, you have to hold on. Just a little longer, we're almost at 20 minutes. I was already thinking about how to get rid of Charles once it was over, when suddenly Mr. Payne let out a cry of agony. You really dare to kill me?" he gasped, both in pain and disbelief. Charles's voice growled like a demon, "Who told you to get in my way? Go to hell." My breath caught. Charles Hartman, did he just kill Mr. Payne? What the hell is going on? Shouting like that in the middle of the night, "I'm calling the cops," a male neighbor yelled from the hallway. The screaming outside instantly shifted to a muffled struggle. Charles must have covered Mr. Payne's mouth. A few seconds later, silence. Finally, the 20 minutes were up. I stepped out of the candlelit Bagua circle, rushed into the kitchen, and grabbed a large kitchen knife. Determined to fight Charles Hartman to the death, I yanked the door open. No one was there. Blood spattered the walls and floor, with a smeared trail leading down the stairwell. My legs went weak, and I nearly collapsed. A sharp cramp tore through my belly. Looking down, I saw blood soaking through my pants. I forced myself to call the police, then dialed for an ambulance before slumping weakly against the door, too drained to move. Suddenly, footsteps echoed down the hallway. Had Charles come back? Clutching the knife tightly, I half-crawled toward the bedroom, but before I could take more than a few steps, a cold hand grabbed my arm. I screamed. "Don't be afraid, I'm here to help you," a voice said. The newcomer wore a baseball cap and a mask, her face completely hidden. Judging by her figure, she was a woman. Not Charles. I tried to take a steady breath, but my vision went black, and I fainted completely. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying on a soft, clean bed. My blood-stained clothes had been replaced with fresh loungewear, and my hands, feet, and face had been wiped clean. Aside from a dull ache in my belly, everything else felt normal. I exhaled in relief, picked up the phone lying beside the pillow, and carefully stepped out of bed. My call log showed dozens of missed calls from Tracy Brown and Charles Hartman, along with several from my lawyer. I immediately called my lawyer back and arranged to meet in person. Charles had tried to kill me and my baby. I wasn't just going to file for divorce, I was going to strip him of everything and send him to prison. After hanging up, I calmed myself, walked to the bedroom window, and pulled the curtains open, only to freeze. This was the very apartment complex where I had lived before getting married. And the window looked directly across into the living room of my old home. On the windowsill sat a pair of binoculars. Someone had been watching me all this time. I needed to get out of there immediately. But as I passed the bathroom, a strong metallic stench of blood hit my nose. My heart sank. My legs felt like lead as I took a step closer. Inside the bathroom, the black dog, the one Tracy had cut open, lay in a pool of blood, its belly split wide. Its glassy eyes were wide open, filled with hatred and grievance, staring straight at me. I screamed in terror and bolted, only to crash directly into Tracy Brown, who stepped out from the guest bedroom. Her hair was a tangled mess, her dress and hands soaked in blood, clutching a lump of raw, dripping flesh. "My baby is gone, because of you," she snarled. "Bitch, give my child back to me." Her face was twisted with rage as she lunged at me. I screamed again, struggling free, and sprinted for the door. Just as I reached for the handle, it swung open from the outside. Was it Charles Hartman? I thought I was done for, my legs gave out, and I collapsed to the floor. But when I looked up, I saw a pair of long, slender legs. Lynn Newman, why are you sitting here? Startled, I lifted my head. The woman standing there wore a cap and a mask. I recognized her, she was the same person who had appeared before I blacked out. Tracy Brown was still inside. I swallowed hard and, trembling, turned my head to look. But no, the blood-covered Tracy and the gutted black dog were gone. The woman's voice dropped. You're hallucinating, aren't you? I froze for a beat before repeating, hallucinating? She nodded with a sigh. Charles Hartman spiked your food, it contained both a sedative and a hallucinogen. Immediately, I remembered the black chicken soup from last night, the one with extra seasoning. She helped me back into the room. I finally asked, who are you? My name is Donna Miles, she said. I'm the girlfriend Charles once tried to burn alive. What? I gasped. Donna explained that she too had been a victim of Charles Hartman, just like me. She had been his first love, the one who paid for his college education. He had sworn on his life that he would marry her, but the summer after graduation, he deliberately set her rented room on fire. Donna removed her cap and mask, revealing a face covered in burn scars. A chill ran down my spine. I was lucky enough to be rescued, she continued. I went back to my hometown for treatment for 3 years. When I returned, I found out he had married you. Donna had been plotting revenge ever since, secretly tracking him. Not only had she rented this apartment, but she had also rented another directly across from your newlywed home. My throat went dry. Charles and I were college classmates. We only started dating after graduation. And Tracy Brown, she's the one who introduced us. So, after he got together with me, he was already planning to burn you alive? Curious, I asked, how did you find me? I've been following your social media. When I saw this necklace, I knew he was about to make his move, Donna said, showing me a video. It was the black dog wearing the ashes necklace, rubbing its head against Charles Hartman's leg and whimpering, the very clip I had filmed yesterday to fool him. After seeing that video, Donna had been waiting by the window, watching me through binoculars. When I ran out of the house carrying the dog, she immediately followed me. I quickly asked, then did you see where Charles took the old man who helped me? Donna shook her head. I only saw him dragging a blood-covered old man into his car. I didn't dare follow, I was afraid he'd spot me. I thought about Donna's words. Betrayed by Tracy and Charles, the two people closest to me, I had become overly cautious, unwilling to trust her completely. Sensing my doubt, Donna said, I have proof. She pressed play on an audio recording. Do you really have the heart to treat Lynn Newman like this? It was Tracy Brown's voice, calm, almost bored, yet laced with provocation. She gave you her first time, you know. My face flushed hot. Charles Hartman let out a contemptuous, cold laugh. Who cares? That prim, uptight act of hers disgusts me. Tracy giggled. Your drug really works that well? Charles replied with smug confidence, of course. This kind of drug causes hallucinations. Lynn is terrified of ghosts. Once she's pregnant, we'll target her through the baby. All we need to do is burn some chicken bones to pass them off as an infant's ashes, and lead her mind toward superstition. We won't even have to lift a finger, she'll scare herself into a miscarriage. Best case scenario, she bleeds out and both she and the baby die. His voice dripped with cruel satisfaction. What can a pregnant woman do to us anyway? Even though I'd prepared myself mentally, hearing those words from his own mouth broke me. I couldn't stop the tears. All these years, I had given him my entire heart. When he wanted to start a business, I gave him money. When he was busy with work, I quit my job entirely to cook, clean, and take care of him. At first, I hadn't planned on having children. It was Charles who said he wanted a happy family of 3. When I finished crying, Donna Miles spoke up. Then all of this means they were just trying to scare you. If that's the case, doesn't that mean Mr. Payne is also on Charles's side? I froze, staring at her. She nodded. Highly likely they're working together. Her eyes lingered on my belly with a complicated look. If I hadn't taken you away yesterday and given you the antidote, you probably would have miscarried. I tried to stay calm. I already called an ambulance. Donna gave me a searching look. Did you really? I opened my call log. I clearly remembered making the call, but there was no record of it. At that time, you were already under the influence of the hallucinogen, Donna said. I licked my dry lips, stayed silent for a moment, then said, I want to leave here. I want a blood test. All right, she agreed. She didn't stop me, but added herself to my contacts. If you ever want Charles Hartman to pay, contact me. After meeting my lawyer, I went straight to a testing center to get a blood test done urgently. But while I was waiting for the results, Charles Hartman suddenly appeared. Fear jolted through me. My first instinct was to run, but he grabbed my arm in a tight grip. He smirked, half mocking, Lynn, you really do have 9 lives. Twice I tried to burn you alive, and you still slipped away. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Those 2 times, you did it on purpose? After I got pregnant, there had been 2 occasions when he cooked breakfast for me in the morning, but then left in a hurry for urgent matters, forgetting to turn off the stove. Once, I'd been woken up by the smell of something burning and rushed to turn it off. Another time, an upstairs neighbor had seen black smoke pouring from my kitchen and run down to pound on the door. Charles Hartman let out a cold, mocking laugh. Today, you won't be so lucky. Come with me. He yanked me forward. I struggled with all my strength, shouting loudly for help. A few passers-by looked as if they were about to step in, but Charles pulled a medical diagnosis slip from his pocket and gave a weary smile. My wife has severe paranoia. She was in treatment at the hospital, but when the nurse wasn't paying attention, she slipped out. No. I'm not. He's trying to hurt me, hurt my baby. I cried out in panic, desperately explaining. But the bystanders believed him, even advising him to keep a close eye on his patient so she wouldn't cause trouble for others. Charles kept smiling as if to soothe the situation. I clenched my jaw and suddenly bit down hard on his neck. He screamed in pain, and I used the chance to shove him away, sprinting toward a woman carrying a designer handbag. I knew that making a scene was my only shot at escaping. But out of nowhere, Tracy Brown stepped into my path, her smile icy. Lynn, stop causing trouble. Be a good girl and come with us, she said, moving toward me step by step. Charles, clutching his injured neck, closed in from behind. I held my stomach, cornered between them. At that moment, Donna Miles suddenly burst out from the crowd. My sister is not sick. He's the one who's dangerous, she shouted, charging straight into Charles Hartman's gut. When Tracy tried to rush in to help him, I stepped in front of her and slapped her hard across the face. She froze in shock, eyes wide, as if she'd never imagined I'd dare to hit her. Donna shoved Charles away and pulled me into a run. Thank you, you saved me again. Thank you, I said breathlessly. Donna shook her head slightly. Just then, the results of my blood test came through on my phone. I read them, and my heart turned to ice. Donna, do you still want to take revenge on Charles Hartman? If you do, I have a plan. 30 minutes later, we were standing in front of a mental health clinic. Donna hesitated. You're sure he's here? I nodded. My lawyer confirmed it. I pushed the door open, and the moment I saw the man sitting behind the desk, my suspicions were confirmed. Slightly overweight, bald, and bearded, it was Mr. Payne. My lawyer had been right, Mr. Payne wasn't a shaman at all, but a psychologist running his own clinic. The attack he suffered outside his home that day had been nothing more than a staged act between him and Charles Hartman, meant to frighten me into miscarrying. That day, when the neighbor in the apartment building suddenly shouted at him, Mr. Payne panicked, fell, and was injured. Charles Hartman took him to the hospital, and that was the moment Donna Miles was able to get me out, ruining their plan. When Mr. Payne saw me now, he sprang up in shock. "Lynn Newman, how did you find me?" Charles was a penniless nobody, every dollar and every connection he has now came from me. I gave him a cold stare. "If you confess everything about working with Charles Hartman, I might not press charges. Otherwise, be ready for prison." Mr. Payne let out a long sigh, his face showing resignation. "All right, come in, I'll tell you everything." I exchanged a glance with Donna, and we stepped into the clinic. At that exact moment, my lawyer sent me a message. I opened it, my face instantly changing. Grabbing Donna's hand, I whispered urgently, "We have to go. Now." Unfortunately, I was a step too late. Before I could turn around, a hand clamped hard around my neck, and then the pungent stench of a cloth pressed over my mouth and nose. My vision went black, and I lost consciousness. When I came to, I found myself and Donna Miles tied to pillars. Charles Hartman stepped out from the shadows, with Mr. Payne and Tracy Brown right behind him. I let out a cold laugh. "Mr. Payne, I never imagined you were actually Charles's father." The moment I had entered the clinic, my lawyer had messaged me. He had discovered that Mr. Payne and Charles Hartman were father and son. Every time Charles committed a crime, Mr. Payne was there to cover for him. Mr. Payne's face twisted into something cruel. "Girl, wouldn't it be easier to just wait quietly for death? Why make such a fuss?" Charles stepped toward Donna, his eyes full of disgust. "Looking like some burned-up ghoul, and you still dare to show yourself in front of me? Did you think I wouldn't kill you?" Donna glared at him with hatred. "If you wanted to leave me, you could have just said it. Why set fire to kill me?" Charles smirked coldly. "What if you kept clinging to me later on? I needed to cut things off completely to have peace of mind." Then he turned his gaze to me. "And you, after losing your baby and dying from exhaustion, I'll quietly take every cent of your assets." His voice turned savage. "Why can't any of you just stick to the script I've planned for you?" Then, slap. A brutal strike to my face. My mouth filled with the metallic taste of blood. But even now, I still had a chance to turn this around. Charles laughed manically. "Tracy, kill them." Mr. Payne snapped his fingers. With an empty, lifeless expression, Tracy Brown picked up a fruit knife and began walking toward me. I remembered what my lawyer's investigation had revealed: Mr. Payne was skilled in hypnosis. I quickly called out, "Tracy, snap out of it. Don't let them control you. If you kill me and Donna, you'll be the one rotting in prison, while the one who benefits will be Charles Hartman. That way, he'll eliminate all 3 women who know about his pathetic past. After that, he'll be free to approach new women under the title of a successful man." Mr. Payne gave a smug, cold laugh. "She's already under my hypnosis, there's no way." Tracy Brown turned on Mr. Payne. His eyes went wide in shock, frozen in disbelief. Her face twisted with hatred, she spun around and lunged at Charles Hartman, plunging the fruit knife into his thigh. "Why did you make me lose my baby?" "Why?" she screamed. It turned out that both times Tracy had been pregnant and miscarried, it was because she had been hypnotized and drugged under Mr. Payne's orders. I glanced down at the tiny hidden camera disguised as a shirt button and whispered to Donna Miles, "They're almost here." The very next second, my lawyer burst in with the police. Right there, they cuffed Charles Hartman, Mr. Payne, and Tracy Brown. That had been my plan all along. I didn't have direct evidence that Charles had tried to kill me, so I had to risk walking straight into the tiger's den. Donna had willingly agreed to take that risk with me. Tears streamed down Charles's face as he pleaded with me. "Lynn, I love you. I never wanted to hurt you. I just wanted to scare you a little." I looked at him coldly. "Save it for the court." As Tracy Brown was escorted past me, she muttered under her breath, "I'm sorry, Lynn." My expression was complicated, but I didn't reply. It was true that she had been hypnotized by Mr. Payne, but to say she had no intent to harm me at all? That, I didn't believe. In the end, Tracy Brown, Charles Hartman, and Mr. Payne all received the punishment they deserved. What broke my heart was that I couldn't save the baby I was carrying. It took me an entire year to recover from that loss. I also helped Donna Miles get reconstructive surgery to restore her face. Now, we both have new lives.